Welcome to Anime Out of Context, a comedy review show where a man completely immersed in anime culture torments his co-host, who is only allowed to watch the shows featured here. If you'd like to support the show, you can do so at patreon.com/animeoutofcontext. Alongside over 100 hours of exclusive bonus material, all episodes uploaded to Patreon are completely ad-free, even to non-patrons. Thank you for listening, and enjoy.
Hello and welcome to Anime Out of Context, the show where I attempt to explain the sometimes weird, sometimes wonderful, but always hilarious world of anime.
And heaven isn't all it seems.
I'm Shaun Rollins.
I'm Remington Chase.
Okay, Remington, I've got some great news for you.
Oh, yeah? Yeah, great news, you say. All right.
Yeah, because this week, Remington, we are covering our old pal, Studio Ghibli.
Okay, I'm confused.
Why's that, Rem?
Well, towards the end of last week, and then even during our little fun patron pre-banter that we do, you have been not so subtly warning me.
What?
Which is unlike you. Normally, you just like to fuck me up, right? You like to be like, surprise, bam. Or try to mislead me or something like that. It's rare that you're like, hey, good luck next time.
I mean, Rem, come on now. Like, we are an episodic podcast, and people can tune into any episode at any point they want. There's no real continuity to our show, is there?
Hey, I mean, not much, but that's why it's frightening when there are little bits and pieces, right?
I see.
Usually, but now you're saying, like, it's Ghibli, and I feel like that shouldn't be something to be worried about, right? Right?
Yeah, I mean, we've watched lots of Ghibli movies. They're all really solid. You have your issues with them, though, but that's because you're a cynical bastard.
Why? No, look. Ghibli, it does some things it does better than anybody else, right? Attention to detail with the animation, displaying such captivating humanity, right? Beautiful. Love it. Oh my God. So good. And then it'll randomly, often about 2/3 of the way through, decide that it actually really needs a plot, a very traditional, like, Western plot that does not fit and does not work, and I don't care about. So we got our plot Ghibli on one side, and then we have our character human Ghibli on the other, right? And I really like the character in human Ghibli. It's why I like Totoro, probably my number one Ghibli thus far, because it's just all focused on the humanity. It's all there. Something like Kiki's I regard very highly because it's mostly that until the final bit. Meanwhile, you have something like Howl's Moving Castle, which was kinda bad.
We still get angry emails about that one, Remington.
It was kind of a mess.
There are so many people that is their favorite Ghibli movie, and they have not forgiven us for that one.
Howl is such a shitty character. So
the amount of times people have told us that all our bacon should burn in emails is... it's staggering, really.
So I'm hoping that, this is towards one end of the Ghibli instead of the other.
I see. And what other things are Ghibli known for, like, in terms of, like, the content of their films?
He is a Teaboo. He loves England. Okay. Studio Ghibli has all sorts of England in it.
I mean, to be fair, a lot of their most popular stories are adaptations of Western books. So
yeah. A lot of coming of age qualities to it, right? Environmentalism is certainly a point.
Definitely lots of, like, fantasy elements as well.
Yeah. The fantastical, especially like the fantastical breaching into the real. Those are like a handful that I often think of.
Okay. Well, today, Remington, we are going to be watching a Ghibli movie.
Okay.
A heavily requested Ghibli movie.
Sure.
Arguably one of the most requested, but from a very specific group of people.
Okay.
And it's also one of the highest rated Ghibli movies as well.
Wow. Oh, I mean, thus far, I'm not seeing a lot of reason to worry.
No. In fact, people have wanted you to watch it for ages. It's another novel adaptation. It's a simple little story titled Hotaru no Haka.
Okay.
Any guesses on what the translation of that would be?
That means Hotaru gonna haka loogie.
Why did that make me laugh? That shouldn't have made me laugh. That's a real stupid thing to make me laugh.
Quality humor, folks. I've done it.
Well, hey, we found our joke for the episode. I'm glad that we got here early.
Good. We got it out of the way.
Got it out of the way so we could talk about the serious stuff later. But, you know, you got to make sure we got to keep that comedy tag on our podcast nice and fresh. So one joke minimum is what we got to shoot for.
Oh, fuck.
So Remington, Hotaru no Haka. The translation for that is for the Western audience is simply titled "Grave of the Fireflies."
Okay. All right. I feel like I know like passive shit about this.
What do you know?
I think all right. I have 3 bits of trivia. All right. Well, one bit of trivia and 2 very vague things.
Okay.
It's heavy, right? Which I don't know in what ways, but I also know I think it's like about war ?
A lot of Ghibli stuff is.
Yep. Perhaps more overtly. And I know that it was I believe originally released as a double feature with Totoro. Because I've seen people be like, that's insane. So right now in my mind, I have that it's like in great contrast to Totoro, but I don't know like the ways it's in great contrast to Totoro.
Oh, God.
Basically, all of this just reinforces the, like, I need to strap in, but unfortunately, I don't know enough to know why I'm strapped in. I know to strap in, but...
So it's like going into Space Mountain in Disneyland for the first time.
Yeah, and I'm like, I heard it's wild, but I can't see what's about to happen. I don't know what's gonna happen.
Yeah. But yeah, no, it is common that they were screened as double features in tandem. And so, oh man, I should just go straight into it. So Grave of the Fireflies, it does the very common Ghibli thing of having our protagonists be 2 siblings.
Okay, yeah, sure. All
Very
right, so
similar
one
to
of them is fine. Given already what I know, one of them is gonna die in a devastating fashion, all right? And it's just whether it's early or late.
Well, Rem, Grave of the Fireflies, I'll tell you right now, it's based on a 1967 semi-autobiographical short story of the same name. It's a, slightly fictional story about the author's experiences during and after the 1945 firebombing of Kobe.
All right. Oh, okay. Here we are, folks.
Yeah, so this is a World War II film, Rem.
Oh, fuck.
And it's about our 2 recently orphaned siblings. And how they are coping with their sudden situation. And yes, it was paired with Totoro. While Miyazaki was working on Totoro, the director of this one, I believe it was Takahata, I think is who it was working on this one. They released at the same time, side by side. And yeah, that is the premise of the show, and people often regard it as one of the best Ghibli movies out there. Most people only watch it once, though, Rem.
Yeah. All right, okay.
And people wanted us to do a comedy podcast about this.
What a wild fucking choice.
I've been putting it off for years, Ram.
All right, well, it's gonna be interesting. It's gonna...
Gudetama was just an existential dread prelude, Ram.
I hope our lovely listeners enjoyed the one joke.
It'll be hard to make more.
Yeah, we'll see if there's any others. That might be the limit, right? It may be a one joke kind of podcast. And then we end up like hitting the patron readings at the end of this episode, and it's gonna be
gonna mention things about how they want
Shaun and his one night and Judy hops in the Pope, and it'll be tonally dissonant. It's gonna be a strange experience, all right? But we're here in this together.
It's okay. People don't listen to the Patreon reads anyways. It's fine.
We're all here together, all right? We're
going in to, some might say objectively, the most traumatizing Ghibli movie. That was paired with fucking Tonari no Totoro.
Jesus
the
Christ.
Same fucking day. Imagine, Rem, imagine going to the double feature with your kid being like, Studio Ghibli. They made those lovely films that my kids love. It's a double feature. It's a long time investment, but I'm sure my kids are going to enjoy it. And just the shock and horror on the kids' faces.
See, and the rough thing is like, I know it's gonna be fucked, but like there's so many ways it could be, and it could take countless number of them. Like, I, unfortunately, being like, hey, yeah, it's World War II, Japan, and it's fucked. Like, that doesn't narrow down the possibilities of fucked. It doesn't. It unfortunately doesn't narrow it down to make me be like, oh, so I'm in for something like this. Like, it is alarmingly open.
Yeah, and as to Americans, we there's a lot to contend with here.
Yeah.
So if you're wondering where all like the heavy stuff that could have been in Totoro went. You know?
Fuck.
I mean, the heaviest thing in Totoro was a little girl went missing at one point, but then they found her. Yay, happy days. This is a little different. So I think without further ado, let's get straight into it. Let's go watch the multi-award-winning hit 1988 film Hotaru no Haka, or Grave of the Fireflies. And we are back after watching the 1988 hit film Grave of the Fireflies. And Remington, are you ready to have a nice, lighthearted, comedy-filled discussion?
Of course, Shaun. In fact, why don't you open us up with a joke? Get the mood going, just with a fun joke.
Oh, no, Rem. See, part 2 is where you get to have the spotlight and get to really dig into the comedy.
That's why I think that you should have a joke, because I don't want you to feel sidelined by any means.
Oh, I never feel sidelined, Rem.
Just, take it away, Shaun. The people are eagerly awaiting a joke.
America.
Huh.
And that's about as funny as things are gonna
Got
get. But Remington, quite the movie, huh?
Yeah. Yep. Yes.
Well, I mean, should we start with the obvious? Did you think it was a good movie?
So I had one concern, right? Because I've maintained, and I still maintain, that Studio Ghibli is at its best when it's focused on people in the humanity rather than traditional plots. Right? I don't think they do plots very well. I think they do characters amazing, like next level. And I was a little bit worried, given sort of like the themes and the setting of Grave of the Fireflies, that it would be a little bit more plot focused, which would make sense. Thankfully, no, not at all. There's not really any plot. It is just character. That's all that's there. That is the only thing, and it's so much better for it.
Yeah, it's only character until it's not.
Yeah.
Spoilers, by the way, in case you couldn't.
Spoilers and like a disclaimer of just like, hey, shit's fucked. So
yeah, no, this is easily the darkest thing Studio Ghibli has ever produced, and it aired at the same time as Totoro. So
yeah.
It takes all kinds.
Here's the crazy thing. Like, this and Totoro, they're probably my top 2. So that one day is, for me, just the obvious peak of Ghibli. Like, it's just...
So April 16th, 1988.
They put out their top 2.
Is your peak. God, man, if only I had the foresight to do this 1 week later so we could have done it as a proper anniversary episode, but we're just only a week early, so it's fine.
So, we open up and, we see our, protagonist, Seda. He's like, hey, this is the day I died. And it's like, oh, all right. Yeah.
Nice and happy.
Not trying to, obfuscate it in any way. This is how he dies. Dirty and ragged in a train station where, one of the workers comes to clear out the body, finds a Fruit Drops container and, like, it just kind of dumps it. And it's like, oh, okay, cool.
Starting off nice and light.
Yeah. So, we cut back to when, Seda was alive, and there's air raid sirens going off, because, incendiary bombs are about to come down. So, Seda and his sister, Setsuko, they're trying to prep and get to shelter, right? As, the fucking fire bombs fall. And there's, like, this strange, once they fall, right? And they're burning, but the shit hasn't gone boom yet, so there's just like a bunch of fires quietly burning, and the world isn't on fire yet, but it's like inevitable. There's this weird just like uncanniness about that how it's like, it's fucked, but it hasn't reached the fucked part yet.
Mm-hmm.
And so they try to run. There's lots of crowds going on. Their mom is able to make it to, or at least is heading to the shelter while they have to sort of figure shit out. They're A-okay. They see the damage and destruction and the crowds of survivors, and there's a gathering at the elementary school, so they go there. Seda learns that the mom is grievously injured and it is fucked.
Mm-hmm.
They show a few casualties, a few dead bodies up to now, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But there's not like any meaningful gore up to this point, even with the actual corpses. And so when you see the mom, and the mom looks orders of magnitude worse than even the dead bodies you have seen, it is very literally like the worst case scenario while still being alive.
Correct. Yes.
Just super fun.
Yeah.
And so Setsuko, obviously she wants to see the mom, right? She's like, why don't I get us here? And so it's like, nah.
Maybe not. Maybe not.
You
know, there's probably some decisions you can make here that are better for you.
Yeah. So she starts crying, and Seda sort of tries to, amuse her by sort of like flipping on a bar at the elementary school. Doesn't really work. She's still just crying the whole time.
No.
And very, very soon after, the mom dies. So here we are, folks. Shaun, hit us with a joke for levity.
Oh, you're expecting more from me.
Yeah. I'll just need an occasional joke from you so that we can keep the comedy podcast moniker. All right. So we'll occasionally cut to Shaun with the joke to keep things on the up and up.
I see. And it's almost like I front loaded the first half of this podcast with jokes so we could keep that moniker because I knew shit was going to be fucked in this half.
All right, Shaun, hit us with a joke.
Okay, man. You know what else is a joke, Rem?
What?
Shaun's sex life.
Got him. All right.
There we go.
So the siblings, they journey together to a village to stay with their aunt. Their dad is in the Navy, so he's working, and they can't even communicate with him in any meaningful way. They stay with the aunt. Seda decides to keep the mom's death a secret from Setsuko. Is like, yeah, I don't think she's ready for that. So they get from the rubble of like their home, they get their fruit snacks, their little fruit drop candies. They start living with the aunt. Things are a little bit stressed here. It's kind and nice and good that the aunt took in these now orphan children, especially like things are already pretty strained, and so anytime you gotta contribute to taking care of some kids, it's gonna be a little bit more strained. But at the same time, the aunt doesn't hide that she views them as a bother. They are a burden unto her, and she makes it known, which ain't great.
No.
Once again, I think that, especially a little bit later, it's very easy to truly vilify the aunt, and to a certain extent, yeah. But at the same time, wartime's fucked for everybody. It's kind of rough. And this in no way like justifies her behavior, but it is more understandable given the circumstance. Meanwhile, the fruit drop candies, they've just become like a little sign of hope, getting a little bit hungry, but hey, you got a fruit drop. Just a small beacon of joy in a fucked up world. One thing I appreciate, there's a lot of like day-to-day levity amidst the horrific catastrophe. Amidst all the destruction, Seda and Setsuko, they still have joy and connection to be found together, which it's just very hopeful. At the same time, quite a bit naive in a lot of ways, especially we'll see this a little bit later. But yeah, for now, it's nice to see.
Man, it doesn't last long, does it, Ram?
Yeah. Well, I would say that there's moments like this throughout where there's little sprinklings of hope and relief and positivity and connection thrown in through almost the whole thing.
There's a lot of punctuation that stands out.
Yeah. And so with some, they eventually have to sell their mother's kimonos to get some more rice so that they can eat a little bit better, right? A thing that the aunt encouraged forrages. And Setsuko highly disapproves, but Seida's like, hey, we need rice. They get scolded because the aunt is giving more food out to her immediate family who are contributing to the war effort, whereas the aunt views Seida and Setsuko as sort of being layabouts, right? Not really contributing. And Setsuko's like, well, but that's our rice. That's the rice we got. And the aunt scolds them. It's like, maybe we should just eat separately. And from this point on, even while still living with the aunt, Seida decides, all right, we're going to be a little bit more independent, right? And starts having dinner separately, but then eventually just they decide after more not great conversations with the aunt that, hey, I guess we were better off on our own, actually. And so they get some stuff. They find some like abandoned bunkers, caves, and are like, all right, this is going to be our new home. Just right here, all right, and we'll figure out how to make it work. And it's like they kind of do. They gather and they build and they cook and they catch fireflies, and all of these things, and it's a lovely handful of scenes. At the same time, without the sort of like infrastructure provided by the aunt and her home, it's not sustainable.
No.
It's not a sustainable circumstance. And I've seen some fascinating commentary on how sort of like Seida's pride, and almost naivety, wanting to sort of go it alone and romanticizing this concept of independence being separate from obligations and from judgment in a lot of ways, sort of mirrors the Empire of Japan's destructive pride through the latter half of the war, which, very interesting and very compelling. It's not that I think Seida is exclusively responsible for everything to come, but it is a puzzle piece in the broader scheme of things, right?
Mm-hmm.
So just like the aunt's treatment of them, right? That in and of itself, like, hey, it's stressful times, and it's not great to treat kids that way, but through all of this stress and scarcity, it makes a bit of sense. It's not the sole reason for what ends up happening, but it's a puzzle piece. The war as a whole is a major puzzle piece, and it's just all of these different points that all come together again and again and again and again, right? So they start living on their own, and initially it seems pretty great, but it's not sustainable. Day by day, getting a little bit hungrier and hungrier. Seida has to resort to stealing, and at one point he's even captured stealing some food from a farm, and he's beaten by the farmer and taken to be arrested. He's shown a bit of sympathy from the officer, and it's like not much, but it's like some of the very little external sympathy these kids will receive. Just the officer being like, I won't arrest you. Just consider your actions. And it's like, oh, okay. I guess that feels great in comparison.
You know shit's fucked when that's like the peak.
Yeah, when that's the bar where it's like, oh my god, you're not gonna make my life substantially worse, so I thank you so much. And once again, even the farmer, right? It's not like things are going great for farmers right now. And so yeah, it makes sense for them to like defend their crops and feel the need to desperately do so, even against children. But also, Jesus fucking Christ. And there's a whole lot of that, right? So even with some stolen food here and there, at one point getting more desperate, stealing during air raids, right, where people evacuate to shelters, and so he'll sort of show up and loot different homes. It's still malnutrition is starting to set in hardcore. Both of them, especially Setsuko, are struggling. Rashes, sickness, right? They visit a doctor who's just like, she needs to eat more, and he's like, well, yeah, but how the fuck am I supposed to do that, dog? Like, that's not an option. And theoretically, there might be an option to, like, return to the aunt, but that's never even, like, seriously considered, which is where we get into a little bit of, like, Seida's pride at this point, right? Setsuko now just, like, really struggling. Seida's like, hey, what do you want? And she lists off all these different kinds of food, and she's like, oh, of course I want fruit drops. But most of all, she wants Seida. She wants to keep this connection. And although Seida is ostensibly the caretaker caretaker of his little sister, right? It is extremely clear throughout the movie just how much that they both need each other. Like, Setsuko desperately needs his little sister. That is really his sole reason to live throughout most of the movie. I think that it is abundantly clear that without her, I don't think Seda has much of a will to live at all, which, which will unfortunately be actualized very soon.
It's almost like it was actualized at the beginning of the movie.
So Japan surrenders, right? They've lost the war. Seda realizes, like, oh fuck, that means Dad is definitely dead if they got rid of all of the Navy. If the Navy was destroyed. He gets back. Setsuko has been sucking on marbles like fruit drops, rocks like rice balls. He gives her some watermelon. He finally has some like genuine food for her, right? He gives her watermelons, like, I'm gonna make some food for you, all right? It's gonna be okay. And she doesn't even make it to get to that meal.
Yeah. Watermelon's kind of sad now, isn't it, Rem?
Yeah. Then the final 10 minutes of the movie or so, nothing really happens. They just kind of let you ruminate for the 10 agonizing minutes.
Yeah.
Like, we see society beginning to return to normal. He cremates her with her things, but keeps the fruit drop container, puts her ashes in the fruit drops tin. But that's really all that happens in the whole final 10 minutes. It really just lets you sit with it. And then, of course, we saw at the start how it ends very soon after. Once Seda loses his reason to live with his little sister. Shit.
Yeah.
Fuck. So yeah, this is fucked, Shaun.
And if I told you how many fucking emails we got to review this, Rem, I watched it once years ago, and I was like, well...
Shaun, we need a joke.
You need a joke?
We need a joke, Shaun.
Man, what's the deal with airline food?
I don't know, what is it? What is the deal, Shaun?
Man.
What's the deal, Shaun?
The deal is, unfortunately, not enough people get food in general, so really we shouldn't be complaining too much. It's a little hard to come up with jokes in this situation, Rem, because, like, genuinely, years and years ago, I watched this movie. It fucking broke me. Then we started this podcast, and I was like, it's gonna be fine. They'll never request something like this. Like, I'll show a Ghibli movie every couple of months or so, and I'll be fine. We'll never get to this. And then people are like, oh, hey, you want one of the best movies ever to show Remington? Yeah, let's do that one. That one's great. And I'm like, well, yeah, then I gotta watch it again, and then I gotta be sad again. I don't... Yeah, and, like, genuinely just thinking about this scene, like, oh, fuck, it chokes me up every time. It is a beautiful movie, a fucking painful movie. And, yeah, I guess this is what happens when you take, the loving nature half Ghibli and the fuck war half of Ghibli and then hard separate them at the same time. It's...
What I find crazy, right? Because just looking into stuff after watching it, the obviously extremely talented director,
yes,
doesn't seem to fully realize what he's made.
No.
Two comments in particular that I'm like, how are you the one missing it? First, being like, hey, this is in no way anti-war. And it's like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah.
Like, let me show both the societal and personal tragedies and what could have been preventable atrocities, right? Let me show them in devastating detail. But then just like, nah, it's not a commentary on the war. What are you That's insane. That's a crazy thing. That's unhinged. Then there was some comment from him talking about, like, I didn't realize people would be that sad. And he was like, we tried to make it less sad by showing it at the beginning. What would happen? And it's like, that
makes it more sad.
That just makes the whole thing more sad. Yeah, it's like, and so, like, between those two statements from the director, I'm like, how did you create this without seemingly realizing what the fuck you were creating? Because I'm like, if you asked me to sum it up, I'd be like, oh, the sad anti-war movie? And apparently the director would be like, I don't know what movie you're talking about. I've never made a sad anti-war movie.
Yeah, no, never. What makes you say that? You know, definitely not the most devastating anti-war movie from the era. Definitely not.
Yeah, it's
But it's
wild, dude.
okay
It's
because he
wild.
directed an episode of The Dog of Flanders, so you know, like that's a happy little kids show. So surely that must be where he's really proud of.
Oh
Except I think that one
man.
was also about an orphan.
God damn. Yeah, so somehow Studio Ghibli peaked on one day releasing their two best movies. And that's just how it goes. That's just how it is, dude.
Oh god! And yet, at the very end, you still find a way to make the people who love all the other Ghibli movies just a slight twinge of anger towards you. That's nice.
Hey man, all I'm doing is I'm not antagonizing other movies. I'm simply complimenting this movie and Totoro. That's all.
Yeah, no, and it's definitely not like there's decades of other movies to talk about, but you know.
I mean, there's decades of other movies to talk about. They're just not as good as these two.
Aren't you also the one that said that anything before 1990 was bad?
The vast majority of things,
Okay.
yes.
All right, whatever you say there.
It's not 100% ratio. It's just like a 99%.
I see.
It was, look, it was before they knew how to tell stories, and for Ghibli, that's a great thing. Anime didn't know how to tell good stories before around 1990, and that for Ghibli, what do you know? That saved their asses because story isn't what they're great at.
Oh my Christ.
I have yet to see a Ghibli plot where I'm like, wow, that plot line. The characters, the animation, the humanity, the themes, all that is rad as hell. And then the plot shows up and I'm like, what the fuck is this shit?
Oh god.
Like my thesis that I got very early on has been reaffirmed after literally every single Studio Ghibli film.
Yeah, well, let's just say a lot of people recommended this movie because they thought that this would be the one for you. Because they think this is the one that really sympathizes with your taste in film.
It is correct.
Lots of dead kids. That was definitely something that popped up in every other email about this movie.
Yeah, it's a little less enjoyable as I tend to find
interesting. So you're telling me you didn't enjoy watching these poor kids die?
Yeah, no, it wasn't like peak entertainment. That's not how I would describe
so
it.
the horrifically wounded mother, that was a little better then?
Yeah, I genuinely don't know.
God, it's a hard movie to make jokes about, isn't it, Rem?
It's fucked.
It's such a good movie, though. It's worth watching if you want to feel emotionally devastated, which sometimes you need to do. Sometimes you gotta remind yourself of what's important in life. But speaking of what's important in life, any guesses on what the score for this one is?
Oh, I mean, it's gotta be insanely high, right? It's gotta be, let's say, like a 9.05. Like, it's gotta be like kind of in that transcendent tier, right?
9.05? Is that your final answer?
How can it not be in the transcendent tier?
Well, Rem, it has, Grave of the Fireflies has 429,000 ratings, which is a lot. That's a fuck ton. And it's sitting nice and pretty at an 8.53, actually.
What the hell, you fucking cowards?
You want to know what one of the main reasons is, Rem?
Yeah.
Because people were sad.
You fuckers need to reckon with yourselves and realize that, like, feeling emotion, feeling intensely in ways that you haven't before, all right, that's a valuable experience. Oh no, I'm being thrust out of the confines of my limited emotional scope and I feel uncomfortable. That's a good thing, motherfucker. All right, that's a good thing. That's a healthy thing. That's what it means to fucking live.
Well, would you like to know? I will tell you right now, currently on Mal, there are 3 anime with a 9.05.
Yeah.
And the highest one on that list, currently number 4 in all, is apparently Attack on Titan Season 3 Part 2.
I hate all you fuckers. I hate every single
but genuinely,
one of you.
looking at the looking at the reviews, like a lot of the negative reviews are it made me sad. And I'm like, okay, well, stop that. One review that blew my fucking mind was I didn't like it because the kids died for for no reason.
Motherfucker. Well, and if look, all right, I'm gonna try to engage in good faith with this shit argument, all right? Because like obviously that's very relevant to the themes explored, right, and to the story being told. So those would be the reasons. But maybe you're saying, hey, is it this ultimately senseless death in this great cycle of violence caused by war, right? In which case, yeah, that's the point. So it's either for a reason, namely thematic and story reason, right? Or if you're taking it from a different view, then yeah, it's for no reason, which is the thematic and story. So either way.
Yeah, no, first of all, this person gave the movie a 2 out of 10.
Oh my god.
And saying that they were idiots for leaving their aunt's house, and it was unrealistic of them.
Unrealistic? See, I don't think unrealistic. I think it's fair to be like, hey, you shouldn't have done that. You should have just kind of tanked the abuse. And like maybe there's a valid discussion to be had and lots of fascinating themes that come with that, right? But I know that at least for my viewing experience, especially like the exact moments they're leaving the aunt's house, it doesn't feel bad as a viewer, right? You don't immediately feel like, oh, this is the reason you guys are fucked. You feel like, yeah, look at them go. They can do their own thing, and then they show a large degree of independence, and it's enjoyable and even celebratory at times. And you're like, look at him kick some ass. You guys go. And it's only as it continues where you're like, I felt that naive hope that they also did, right?
Yes, yeah. It's almost like you've seen other movies and you're like, this is how it's supposed to go.
Yeah, like I think that it's wildly impressive that it provides at least much of the audience a hopeful optimism when leaving the aunt instead of a sense of dread. Because it's a nice little bait and switch. Even when you know the ending, you're like, yeah, fuck the aunt. She's such a bitch. And look, they're doing great on their own. And then you're like, oh no, they're really not. Really not.
Yeah. Another review pointed out how, man, I was expecting this to end with a uplifting ending like most Ghibli films do, and then they also gave it a 2 out of 10. And I'm like, but you saw how it ends in the beginning.
Yeah, these are people who refuse to be uncomfortable in any meaningful way, and I'm sorry, but that's gonna limit your growth as a human on this earth. That's just a fact. All right, you're gonna live through a complacent life where blind satisfaction is going to be far greater than any degree of meaning or fulfillment. And you do you, but also Jesus fucking right.
Yeah, no, it's gang, as much as we like to say it is, it's not always ha-has and laughs. Sometimes you gotta deal with the heavy stuff. You gotta feel emotions that aren't the best. And I think these reviews are very much the minority, Rem. Like, I'm gonna send you a screen cap of the score breakdown, and you're gonna immediately be like, oh yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Over 30% of the people that watched this movie gave it a flat 10 out of 10, which, while I rarely give 10 out of 10s myself because, I'm a weird, cynical bastard who has to have strong emotional attachment to a movie before I'm willing to break the 9 barrier. But I understand when a movie qualifies as being a 10 out of 10 for a lot of people. And very clearly, this isn't like cynical Mal where it's like, I liked this for about 3 minutes, 10 out of 10. No. This is a movie that most people who have any sense of emotional depth love this movie for the most part, and hate this movie. Don't get me wrong. I've watched it twice in my life now. If I can get away with it, never again.
Yeah.
Because man, does it fuck me up. Family stuff always fucks me up. And, though, God, I'm such a sadomasochist because if someone's like, oh, I've never seen that movie, is it good? I might be like, oh yeah, let's watch it. It's like, oh yeah, what time is it? What you got anything going on tomorrow? No? Oh, all right, cool. Let's sit down for about 2 hours,
Yeah, and then just cry in the bed sheets for another few hours after that.
Yeah, God, I'm a dick, but I would enjoy doing that very much. Oh God, I have to ask, Graham. I know you usually don't, but did you by chance watch this with your girlfriend this time?
I did not. No.
How do you think she'd handle it?
It would have fucked her up.
Yeah.
Easy.
Because, it does its job really fucking well.
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah.
But hey, it's a good movie, and I think it's worth watching at least once in your life, no matter what. Because if anything, more people need to realize that war is kind of fucking the worst thing ever. It's not that hard.
Unless you're the director of this, in which case, that's
In which case, this isn't an anti-war movie. Yeah, no, it just happens to feature a war in it. That's just the way these things go.
Somehow that is a worse take than all of the bad reviews.
It's true. It's true.
I don't think I'll ever be able to get over that. That's
yeah. Well, hey, if it helps, the author, the original author of this, very clearly did not think that.
yeah.
It's just the director happens to not really understand much of it. I mean, there's a possibility he said those things as a joke, but he didn't seem like a very joking kind of man to me.
yeah.
Yeah, but hey, that's just the way it goes, Rem. Great movie, fantastic movie. Any chance you'd ever want to sit down and watch it again, Rem?
Ooh, I mean, not for a hot minute. Yeah, I need a resting period,
You need to cool down. You need something that'll just cleanse the palate, as it were.
yeah.
Because those candies and that watermelon. Wow, that something that sounds lovely in the mouth just isn't there anymore. That's it turns to ash in the mouth, you might say. Oof, that's not great.
Yeah,
it's not great. But hey, we finally did it. We finally did one of the most requested Ghibli movies, and let me tell you, I'm glad it's behind us now.
yeah. Oh man, what a fucking week.
But with that in mind, thank you so much for tuning in. We really appreciate it. If you enjoyed Remington really coming to terms with the existentialist nature of life and how horrific war truly is, then please head on over to wherever you get your podcasts and leave us a review. They mean the world to us, and we do read every single one. And if that is not enough for you, twitch.tv/anime out of context, where myself, Dylan, and Remington occasionally play video games very poorly. I recently debuted my cute little pixelated VTuber model as well, so you can come and see that. It's very nice, and I am very pleased with it. And if that is still not enough for you, patreon.com/anime out of context, where you gain access to all kinds of lovely bonus material, including the opportunity to be thanked live on the podcast. So, Rem, who are we thanking this week?
Well, as always, we'd like to send our regards to all of our bland bitch protagonists, as well as our magical girls, who we really appreciate. But moving on, we get to our yandere waifus, who are clockwork oranging us and forcing us to just watch this movie on loop, until we have no heart left. And on that list we have, I finally was able to decipher it, one nut in the bunny butt, but it's the emojis. It's a peanut is the one I was confused about when it's so small.
Ah, I see. You're not used to seeing things like that, huh?
Well, it's really small.
I see.
It's so fucking small on this screen, because it's an emoji the size of like one letter, and the peanut's just like kind of a weird one to start with. Then we got Yawn for me, Shaun, like a sexy pro podcaster. Yandere Neko, Wolfire 56. Why does everything want banana, Shaun? Where's our DBZ review, you ginger fuck? Wes Kane, week 7 of using my Patreon name to request code Geese. Watching Requiem for Spoonman at 0.5 speed. Variant, totally good. Titan CNH, Thumper Dumper Enthusiast Club, The Susanator, The Pope, The Opie Wrangler, formerly known as Mommy Milkers, The Danish Viking Will Conquer the World with Renoir Zora as my navigator. That time I reincarnated as a podcast host and forced to weave. Has no place in fairy tales, 100 girlfriends. Turban, Teddy Bear, Tainted Venom, Super Zoo, stole a nut from each of the Shonen Flop guys. Thanks for distracting them. Stacy's mom. Shaun wants to give Spoonman a thanking yank. Shaun cucked by Judy while he soaks in the Pope's ass. Shaun's hair apparent. Shaun's 100 rental girlfriends who really want him to cover the Monogatari series. Shaun, while you soaking Judy Hopps, does the Pope soak in you, or do you let him thrust? Hashtag one nut Rollins. Shaun saying Balut in the Patreon read makes Mitsuko want Hanasaka Iroha episode, says Mitsuko as she fests it up. Shaun ruined my happy sugar life when he had a really sexy time role-playing as Joey Wheeler as the Wheel Spun. Hashtag Wheel Cult 2025. Shaun quit soaking with my grandma, please. Shaun bones like a dog, but soaks like a frog. Sir from the shark plushie.
What?
Shaun quivers with excitement as the Pope applies holy lube to his not-so-big hole. Also, where's the streams at, my guy? Yeah, call him out.
I mean, at the time of this recording, I will have done one tomorrow, so Thursday. And I plan on trying to do 2 a week. It's a thing.
Ryan Moody, Ross Farmer, Rhiannon Williams, Remington is right. Rem Milk is the quenchiest. Rem uses the drums of liberation for y'all weeps from bad anime. Rem, there are 3 seasons of Ari Ferretta. Go get Shaun. Do I know what Ari Ferretta is? I don't know if I know that or not.
You do. We covered it. really bad Power Fantasy isekai.
That is not narrowed it down at all.
Okay, it's the one where a whole classroom full of people got ported, but the one guy got separated because everybody hated him for no real reason. He went underground, got white hair, summoned, awakened a vampire lolly. God, I'm trying to find something specific to point out, but
what you've just for me, I'm stuck imagining the spider one, which is not the right one, because they're also underground.
That one's better because at least
it has school. Yeah, there's these guys. Yeah, I have no idea what Ari for is actually.
All right, I'll send you a picture, but you probably still will not recognize it.
Oh man. Rem say haiku about Shaun soaking in Judy. Rem doesn't completely hate my favorite shows. Red Venom, Professor Fox. Pro tips out of context. I won't Google soaking, but did you know, Shaun, that the Heretical Bethel Church practices grave soaking? Please watch 86. Good shit, fam. Oh, you've sent me a picture. Nope. As far as I'm concerned, I've never seen that in my goddamn life.
God, that makes me tempted to revisit a show like that one.
It's so generic.
See if you catch on.
It's so generic.
Oh God, and it's extra bad animation wise as well.
Oh fuck. PJ Turtle, PJSK addict, wonders if Shaun even knows what PJSK stands for. Paco
yeah, it was episode 269 for your reference.
One of Shaun's 10 Polly Bunny waifus. Miss Maggie Pan, Makeka 7 Hierto, Macaroni Uchiza, Lucky Stars the King of Moe, Link Joe Girl, Linerd 98, King Rich Rock, Cassidy, Jax, Jam Hands, Jake Dent. I'm making Rem say ethnic slurs until you bring back the Chef No Musco tier, Shaun, ya honky. I will never get more Ace of the Diamond, now I cry. I did the jump hump for Rem and Shaun soaking. I can't believe I made an account for this. Hiring a PI to look for Shaun's ass. Ha 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 ha. Gordon Ramsay's raw sausage. Glenn Michael Dolan, G-Thing 72. Fern the Fern. Farmer Weeb question for Rem for the week. What's the best fast food? The best fast food is
the one you can get for the cheapest.
Whatever's the most affordable, whatever has the best deals. Like McDonald's tends to have really good deals. So Taco Bell is real solid.
Me and Rem have been on many a Taco Bell run because of the deals, not because we wanted Taco Bell.
But they increased the price of the Cravings box by 50%. So what the fuck? Come on, man. And while decreasing the options available within the Cravings box. You can't be pulling that shit, Taco Bell. Fantide, Erica McCorkle, Danielle Riot, Daddy Rem, tell me a bedtime story about Shaun's nut, Calderius, Cheese Monkey. Bullet pushed his body way too far, pushing a 900-kilogram tractor for 1 kilometer through mud uphill. Might not be good for the body. Rock Hard G Dudes, Carl Weezer says, Jimmy's mom has got it going on. Boring Siren, Blarf, Blackout Drunk Before Butts Off, says Miska, Bento Kato, Amazing Muffin, Aisha Gaji, a Moe piece of trash. And now we move on to the Boy Wizard tier. What are they going to get this week, Shaun?
Is it fucked up if I give them a nice fruit?
You'll get the last fruit you'll ever eat. All right. This we have Umbrasite.
Well, let's start with the basics. Have some watermelon.
Truckoon Operator number 42.
You can have oh god, some of these I just don't know how to pronounce. Acerola?
Titaro ain't a Shonen Flop patron, but just wants to fuck David. You gotta be a Shonen Flop patron if you're talking about fucking David in Patreon readings. You gotta be, at least for 1 month. At least for 1 month, Titaro.
Yeah, and you should at the very least talk to his wife about it first. Have an apple.
That mouse girl.
How about an apricot?
Spoonman the Aristocrat.
Avocado.
Silent Secondary.
Banana.
Shilling time for Bang Dream. It's Maigo and Ave Mujica, says Miska, as Miska nods in agreement.
Blueberry.
Scourge has Miska and an IRL girlfriend now.
Cherry.
Sammy K is finally over her con crud and remembered to change her name.
Citron.
Roscoe.
Coconut.
Power Cell begs Shaun to stop soaking in his low bunny. He still has a couple gym badges he needs to earn.
Christ. Cranberry.
Monogatari is everything you ever said you want in anime. This week the MC is one bad character trait, but he knows.
Date.
Fucking Date, motherfucker. His brain's broken.
In my defense, I may or may not have been researching something where the main character's name is Date.
Jesus Christ. Miska wants to know why you played Harikage. Why? Yells Miska as she scolds Rem.
Dragon fruit.
Miska still wants to know why you played that song. Why did you play Harikage?
Our old nemesis Durian.
Miska is a regulation listener that used to listen to Face Jam, but now listens to 100% Eat, says Miska.
Big.
Mike.
Goji berry.
Miguel Deleon.
Grape.
I'd like to start a petition to replace the word brat with kudere.
Grapefruit.
It's March, time for Bang Dream. It's Maigo and Ave Mujica, says Miska, who is playing Harikage.
Ooh, lava.
I thought Ocean's Motion was best. Shaun showed me.
I'm your huckleberry.
Hidden Otaku.
Jackfruit.
Crimson Reapers, just because because of the sides.
Umeboshi.
Captain Beagleboy wants One Piece on episode 400.
The one that I'm allergic to, kiwi.
Carver 271.
Kumquat.
Beethoven 1201.
Lime.
Back on that Monogatari grind.
Lemon.
Allfather likes playing with his deck with his boyfriend.
Lychee.
And now we move on to the inappropriate Joey Wheeler tier, where Shaun, as Joey Wheeler, will give you a popular story that represents your life, and I will horribly misinterpret the purpose and meaning of that story. On that list we have, Shaun, I need you to floss my vagina teeth with your tongue.
Lord of the Rings. Fellowship of the Ring specifically.
Joke's on you. I don't know how to distinguish them. I don't know what order they did. But this is all about how short kings are better than everybody else. Next up, we got Shaun Trader.
That is the book, though. The best character is a short king.
And it's a universal truth. The shorter you are, the better you are.
That's why, oh god, that must be why people don't like me very much.
Yeah, where you know, people are like, oh, it's cool to be 6 foot, and it's like, no, you don't get that short king cred. I'll be hanging out with a bunch of my short friends, because we got a lot of short friends, right?
Yep.
And they'll talk about being short, and I'm like, hell yeah, short kings rise up. Because I want to be an honorary short king, and they don't let it happen. They never.
I mean, if anything, your girlfriend is kind of the peak of the short kings.
It's true. Then we got Shaun, trade offer. I get your hand in marriage. You get a fuckable bread loaf for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, if you know what I mean.
I don't know what you mean. You're gonna get, let's go with... Do I do more random fantasy stuff to fuck with rap? Yeah, sure, why not? Let's go with The Way of Kings by Brandon Sanderson.
Ah, yes, of course. A story I am very familiar with.
Yeah. Well, I mean, hey, Brandon Sanderson's a Utah author, so surely you must know a lot about him.
It's true, and because he is a Utah author and a professor at BYU, the lesson of Way of Kings is obviously that the Way of Kings is following Joseph Smith. That's the way. Last but not least, we have Follow Anime Out of Context on Blue Sky. So happy for you, Shaun. OnlyFans.com/Shaun Rollin and Judy Ubau. And on the Blue Sky, you know, they're harassing Shaun for streaming and yawning, and also talking about the Crunchyroll Anime Awards.
Yeah. Okay. The story for you will be, I don't know, what's the nearest book I have? No, they're all in storage because I moved. Oh no. Catcher in the Rye. There you go. How about that?
All right. The message of Catcher in the Rye, and thus your life, is actually that no one has read that book. They're all just phonies.
Oof. Oof.
Thank you all for tuning in. If you want to reach out for a comment, question, feedback, or recommendation, you can send an email over onto animeoutofcontext@gmail.com.
Once again, guys, thank you all so much for tuning in. We love and appreciate you very, very much. And as always, don't fuck your sister.
Do 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 do.